This recipe is for flapjacks. So nice and straightforward. I've got 150 grams of oats weighed out, 50 grams of brown sugar. Can be any sugar, can be caster sugar, granulated sugar. It's going to be melted into the mixture anyway, but I like brown sugar, 50 grams of butter and 75 grams of apricots that I've chopped up. I've also got a tin ready to cook these in, and because I'm at home I've only got a circular sandwich tin, don't have a square one. You can do this in a square tin if you like, it's absolutely fine. But because this is a sandwich tin and flapjacks can set and be quite difficult to get out, I'm going to put a piece of this paper in the bottom to stop the flapjacks from sticking in the middle. And if you're going to line your tin, it's always better to have the circle of whatever you are lining it with, baking parchment, greaseproof paper, slightly smaller than the tin rather than too large. If it's too large and it comes up the side, it will ruin the edge of whatever it is you are cooking, which may not matter if you're doing it at home, but if you're doing it for a competition or for an exam, we want a nice clean edge to whatever you're cooking. So my bit of paper is smaller than the tin, and the last ingredient that I need is some golden syrup. So I just need to put 2 tablespoons of golden syrup, and I'm going to measure that straight into my saucepan. So this is squeezy syrup, which makes it really nice and easy to measure. However, if your syrup comes in a tin, what you could do is either, well, it helps anyway, if your syrup is in a tin, a metal tin or a glass jar, if you stand that in some hot water for a few minutes before you want to measure out, that will make your syrup much runnier and much easier to measure, and you can then scoop the syrup out. And I've just used a knife to clean that out, because 2 tablespoons of syrup, excuse me, that noise with the cat coming back in, it's not a lot of syrup. So in my saucepan with my 2 tablespoons of syrup, I'm just going to add my butter and my sugar, and I'm now going to put this over a gentle heat, nice low gentle heat, to melt. And what's important is it must not boil. So you really do want a nice gentle heat, and we want the butter to melt and the sugar and the syrup to melt as well, so it's one mixture when it's finished. So at the moment it looks like that, and you can see 3 completely different ingredients, and when I show you again, my ingredients will have been melted. I've melted my butter and sugar together, and it's now one mixture, one colour, which is what I want to see. And I can't hear grating of sugar crystals on the bottom. I meant to say that the reason you mustn't let this boil in, it's got to be a gentle heat, because you've got so much sugar in here, you'll start to make toffee if this boils. So we just want it on a nice gentle heat. And once all your ingredients are melted, pour in your oats and your chopped apricots if you are using them, and stir them up in your saucepan until all the oats are coated and this is one colour. So as you start to mix it up, you should see the oats become coated in the sugar mixture, and we want everything to be one colour before we tip this into the tin. So there we go. When you think all of your oats are coated in the sugar mixture, just tip that into your baking tin. And I've already lit my oven. So lighting my oven was the first thing that I did. I have it on gas mark for 160 degrees, and I'm just going to spread this out a little bit in the tin. So just flatten it out a little bit. The flapjacks you buy in the supermarket always seem very soft to me. The ones you make for yourself at home tend to be a bit crunchier, especially around the edges. So this is only going to take 20 minutes on gas mark 4, 160 degrees, and then you can take it out. Before you put this into the oven, I would place it on a baking tray. I've forgotten to get mine out of the cupboard, but it's going to go into the oven on a small baking tray. I'll get a smaller one in a minute, because that makes it much easier to lift this up and put it in and out of the oven safely. So at school you can probably get 2 tins on one baking tray. The flapjacks have been in the oven for 20 minutes and they're just starting to brown around the outside. They are still hot. This one's got the apricots in, this one doesn't. And what you need to do as soon as your flapjacks come out of the oven is to mark them into the size pieces that you want to have, and you must do this while it's hot. If you wait until they're cold, you won't be able to mark them or break them up once they are cool. So just mark however many pieces you want the flapjack to be in. So I've just done that into 8, and then when it's cold, you should, or cooler with any luck, you should be able to get them out of the tin in one